Canine Detection Collaborative, a detection dog training trio with Stacy Barnett.
Hi.
Robin Greubel.
Hey there.
And Crystal Wing.
What's up?
With humor and a big dose of theory, our trio talks practical training advice and features interviews with top trainers and scientists. It's Canine Detection Collaborative.
Hi, everybody. This is Stacy Barnett from Canine Detection Collaborative, and I am here with my two ridiculous co-hosts, Crystal Wing.
Hello, friends.
And Robin Greubel.
Hi.
You guys have no idea, like, what we go through just to start.
I did.
Because we're sitting here. So just so you guys know, you can kind of like get an idea of like what we're experiencing right now is we use Zoom to
Silliness.
record our podcast, and the three of us are a little on the silly side, like surprise, right? And of course, you know, we all kind of like who draws a short straw to intro, and well, it was me this time. Although I'm excited to do that. And then it's the next couple of minutes, like interrupting each other on purpose just to make each other laugh and all kinds of stuff. So welcome to our chaos. And we're so glad you joined us. We actually have a really fun topic this week. We're going to be talking about canine agility. And I'm not talking about AKC agility,
The
UK.
speedy agility people,
Speedy
which,
agility. Yeah, we're
yeah,
not talking about the run.
you
really
guys are
fast.
awesome, but holy cow.
Yeah, they're amazing, but that's not what we're talking about. I mean, there are other really amazing podcasts for that, but that's not us. So that's not what we're talking about. But what we are talking about is more the agility component that where we're talking about the dexterity of the dog, the control of the dog, proprioception, conditioning, strength.
I was going to say,
you.
I'm so glad you said that word because I always get it wrong.
I can even spell it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. I know. I'm going to put that one on my resume. I can spell proprioception. So that's really what we're talking about today. And it's one of these things where a lot of us, you know, all three of us, we partake in it and we train it and all this type of stuff. And what we're going to talk about tonight is why we do that. What are the applications? What are the benefits? What are the really great things about doing it? But I guess before we get started, maybe we should define it because you guys are probably thinking, well, you already told us what it's not, but you haven't really told us what it is.
So when I start thinking of, I guess I'll call it functional agility.
That's a good.
Right. So we have functional obedience, right? Which is not in the ring
Yeah.
obedience.
Yeah.
You could have the speedy as all get out warp speed agility people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you have, I think about it as the functional agility. And when I think about it as functional agility, for me, because of what I do with some of my dogs, it's literally the don't go so fast that you're going to die.
Mm. Mhm.
And it's, do you know where all 4 feet are? Can I stop you on a dime because I can see that you're about to walk off a ledge or walk on a cantilever, which is basically like a big, huge, giant teeter-totter, but in a collapsed building. And
Yeah,
there's nothing below you. I need you to be able to stop and turn around and come back
Mm-hmm.
and all of those sorts of things. And I guess my biggest thing is I really don't care what my dog is going to do. We do all sorts of that functional agility type of stuff because it's a confidence builder for the dog. And I really need them. Plus, it gives us something to train if the weather's not so nice, or I want to go out and the flat ladder. Flash is doing firearms detection, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Flat ladder is amazing, though.
In the new building, I actually have the flat ladder now set at about 4.5 to 5 feet up in the air.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I have to put 2 climbs up to set it on. So it sets on the other end. And so Flash, plus some other stuff, Flash is walking across, or she started walking across that the other day. And I got her down to the point where she was just the little rungs and a couple of 2x4s put in there. Although she also likes to run across rubble piles. But I think it is a underestimated value for confidence development.
Yeah. I'm seeing it myself with my own dog. to an incredible extent with Prize. I mean, you're the one, you got me started with this last summer. And, I was out at Robin's. So I'm going to talk to you guys now out in podcast land. So I was out at Robin's and was there over the summer. And we were talking about just like Prize's like physical confidence and everything. Like she's never been a dog to like want to jump on things and that kind of thing. And she's always been one where she gets, once she does something once, she's like, oh, I can do it. But it takes a little bit of confidence building. And, Robin said like, oh, hey, why don't we teach her the flat ladder? And I'm like, what? So next thing you know, we've got this wooden flat ladder and putting like these 2x4s next to the rungs to make like the rungs a little wider. Prize is going back and forth. Well, fast forward a year, she can now climb a metal ladder that is basically set at pretty, not quite vertical, but it's
45 degrees is what we set them at for FEMA work. So they have to be 45 degrees. I think it's 6 or 8 feet in the air.
Yeah.
And then they go up to a plank. I mean,
it's less than the 45 because I have one of those like little giants. So it's like, it's straight on the one side and then it's angled on the other.
Correct.
And it was going up 6 feet.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Then she goes to the top and I can tell her to stop there. And, so I'm adding a lot of those other components. And I've seen such an incredible overall confidence in her from doing this. And she's getting, she's turning into like a little, like a beefcake, man. The muscles on that dog is just like sprung.
The amount of muscle strength and core strength that takes in a dog to do a ladder is amazing. And one of the other key things with ladder work is that dogs have the tendency to pull. So they use their front legs and they pull a lot. And when you're doing ladders, they need to push as well with their hind feet. And crawling is good. Teaching them to crawl is good for that.
Okay, we'll have to work on that too. But you can see her. She just like easily goes up to the top of the ladder. It's amazing. And I've seen just a huge difference in her confidence. That's for sure. And I know Crystal. I mean, you're like getting like really like your club and everything. The Evolution Working Dog Club. I mean, you guys are now hosting IPOR stuff, and like that's a core component of the dexterity and control part of it. So that's also a huge piece of it.
Yeah, we've been kind of playing around with the sport for a little bit. And I think when you first talked about agility, I had messaged and said, thinking, you're talking about the different sports. And I was like, I don't know if that's going to really be.
And I'm like, no, that's not
you're
what
like,
we're talking
no.
about.
So I appreciated the clarity on that. And when I think about obedience and agility and dexterity and separating those out, that's when it kind of started helping me think about how I incorporate them into my search work. And with agility, I think about that split-second decisions, that they need to be able to adjust movement and they have to adjust to whatever kind of terrain they're moving into. So I'm thinking agility, I think moving with efficiency and being able to adapt to the environment. And then when I think dexterity, I think about that more as being precise movements. So when you're talking about the ladder, in my mind, that's where the dexterity comes in. And both of those are conditioning and strength training. But the dexterity is more of that precise movement, the precision. And so I like that the sport includes both of those. But I've always been such a proponent of cross-training, like we've talked about in previous episodes. Also, I'm thinking about how it hones their ability to control their bodies. And when they're working on the ladder, they have to be very much in the moment and they have to be super focused. And I think that's the biggest kind of takeaway that I've made is that when I can give them something very physical, that they have to be very aware and also stay focused for a longer duration of time. Especially our kind of maybe frantic dogs, or highly aroused dogs. I see that transfer, that when they can focus physically, that then even in their detection work, that also gives them the concept of being able to focus in other areas. Have you guys experienced that?
That's a huge, really good point. Really great point.
And Nico is a really good example of that, as soon as, and actually Ray was, when she was doing FEMA work, she enjoyed the disaster work to a certain point because the agility component of it added in some complexity and it helped her focus on her odor work on the pile. I see Nico too. It makes him very exhausted, not only physically, but mentally, because he has to really concentrate on where his feet are every given second. And as soon as you give his brain like 2 tasks to do, he's like, yeah, super tired. I can't run fast and do this.
I saw a huge, just even before I started doing all this, I was using climbing just in my normal nosework training to build confidence and engagement. I found with Y, it was actually, I saw a huge uptick in his confidence when he had the opportunity to climb things to get to odor. Now, of course, he's 13 years old now, so it's a little bit harder, but he still jumps up on stuff, and I have to kind of save his little butt. But I did find when Brava, this is right around COVID, she was struggling with some engagement, mostly because couldn't go anywhere. And she just was really kind of tired of searching all the same old places. I just incorporated some climbing things, and that made a huge difference just in her engagement with searching, because I just wasn't able to kind of get her anywhere. But she's doing a lot of the ladder work and everything and it's really helping her. Powder she's a work in progress, because with her arousal, she just wants to go fast. And it's really hard to place your feet very precisely and have control when you want to do everything like Mach 12. So we're working on that.
I really liked Cavaletti work for that. That was something
Yes.
that I actually used in a functional obedience class when we were I was trying to think kind of outside the box a little bit of how can I slow down these GSPs and these really driven search dogs.
Mm-hmm.
It was a functional obedience for SAR teams. Yeah. And how can I help them get the concept of slow your feet down? Let's be thoughtful about your movement and not drag, your handler everywhere without also having to use a lot of corrective tools. So how can we get this concept through? And Cavaletti's was a great way to start that.
That's a great idea. What I had been doing, I have these like blue 55-gallon plastic barrels, and I have 4 of those, and I tip those over on their end, and she can jump, and I don't have them weighted or anything. They're not weighted, so they are tippy. She can jump from one to the next and do a sit. She can go from one and then go to the next one, do a sit, and then go to the next one, do a sit. So it takes a lot of control, but she's not quite at the point where she can cross the ladder. The ladder's still gonna, that's her ultimate goal, and I think we'll be able to get there, but.
And it's good stuff to train. And like the Cavalettis, everybody's like, oh my gosh, I have to go out and buy this stuff. Dude, get an extension ladder.
Well, I just went to Dollar General store. It was, oh my gosh, so many things. It was like little buckets, and I poked holes in the side of the buckets, and then I used gift wrap, because the gift wrap there was only $1 a roll. And also the nice thing about that is, it's, you step on it, whatever. And then if I needed to use the gift wrap, I already had it. So it was all stuff that, I wasn't going to throw away. Yeah. So, and the little lids that came with that, I actually ended up using for another project. So, I used everything from it, but it's real easy to poke holes in it, and you can put it any height, because you can stand it up one way and it's a little shorter, flip it over the other way, and it's a little taller.
Wow.
So yeah, you can do it for, $10 or less and still have wrapping paper to use.
Yes.
Wow.
I start with a lot of my puppies with just a extension ladder laying on the ground. And we start with in between the rungs. And then I have little red bricks, the short bricks. Yeah. And then we'll do those stepping in between the rungs.
Okay.
And then we move to just on cinder blocks. That's now stepping on the ladder. And that's usually when I start incorporating my little wooden ladder.
Gotcha.
So we do planks.
Gotcha.
Right. So what I'll do is I can upload pictures of my wooden ladder with so people can see how I made it. And then with the appropriate blocks in between, and it will be included in the show notes. Canine Census has a link to agility plans and courses for inspiration. And so that will be located in the show notes. And if you have ideas or really cool things for agility stuff, send that to me, or courses, because that's a living library where I upload pictures when I find them.
Yeah. And it's like, I think Diana Bunch, I think she said that my backyard looked like Tinker Toys for adults or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I've gotten very modular with my equipment back there. And I am forced to take it down every Monday because that's when the yard guy comes. So that means I get I set it up all new every week. That's because today was yard day. So what I had set up, I had to get put away.
Right. And that's really important because our dogs learn patterns.
Right.
And so if you have to be creative every Monday, now they have new things that they have to learn how to do.
That's actually why I use the Blue 9 climbs a lot because they are so modular. Like I put out these really cool videos of Prize because I'm so proud of the training that she's absorbed and how she's doing. And she's just killing it on this agility stuff. And I put this and I'm like, wow, look at what she's doing. She's climbing a ladder 6 feet she's doing amazing. Everybody's like, I get less comments on how she's doing and more comments on how many climbs I have.
I love climbs.
Drives me nuts. I'm like, guys.
Okay, so answer all the questions here. So that way you don't have to answer it over and over again.
Just exactly.
Listen to this episode.
Honestly, if people went out and bought a whole set of agility contact equipment, they're going to be spending more than I spend on my climbs. Just I'm going to put that right out there. And I have a wholesale account. Anyway, what I love about, that's me ranting.
But how many climbs do you have? Because I think that was a question you keep getting asked.
Well, it varies because every so often I add to them.
So what are you up to now?
A lot. I have a lot.
I think I'm up around 12, if not 14. I know I think you have more than me. But I love them because we do a lot of stuff with spools.
Yeah.
Like the big wire spools. Give me climbs any day.
Well, they're so hard. Those spools are really hard to move around. They're heavy.
They don't pack well.
No. The climbs, you can pack them, right? You take the little legs off. They store it in the base. They're stackable. You can connect them together. They can be sturdy.
So they're really stable. Yes.
They're lightweight, right?
And they don't have holes in the middle of them like spools do that you have to put a board over anyway.
Yeah. Or a pallet or something where, you have to think about, they're not going to splinter. In terms of the amount you want to talk about expensive? I got some culvert pipe out here. I got on Facebook Marketplace. I got a screaming deal on that. But if you get that stuff new, forget it.
Oh, that stuff, trust me, because we buy a lot for
it's like copper. You might as well be like copper, copper or culvert pipe, right? So I got on Facebook Marketplace. I got a screaming deal. But it's
can I plug Marketplace?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's how I get all of my agility stuff as well in the backyard. So I have old play sets. And they're free all the time. It's just a matter of going to someone's house, taking them apart, putting them on a trailer and bringing them home. And I think I spent a total of $50 on my backyard. And that's because I got a 6-foot spool. And it is amazing how many cool things you can do with free play sets. So if you're handy, I turn the backside of one into a palisade. So that way, for Mondio Ring, so that way they can practice that. And I made it so it's adjustable. And then they end up landing on the upper part of a kid's playset instead of having to navigate the downside of a Mondio Palisade.
Oh, wow.
And then I had actually, when I was doing mud runs, I had a slide on one side that I would only put on when I was out there because there's just too many ilio and too many tears. And I didn't want to mess with all that. So whenever I was out there, I'd put that to practice putting the dog in my lap and sliding down together. And I'm just telling you, Marketplace, the place to go. Coolest setups.
I got my culvert pipe delivered. Like how
nice.
Lucky. Yeah, delivered. And when he showed up, I'm like, oh, this thing's long. He cut it in half for me because it was a 10-foot section.
Oh, wow.
And he brought the, he had one of those reciprocating saws, like the
Sawzall.
Sawzall. Yeah, he brought a Sawzall and cut it in half. And now I have 2 5-foot sections and they're like the 24-inch pipe. Yeah, I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. So yeah, I got a really good deal on that. But yeah, the climbs are amazing because again, also in the winter, I can bring them into my basement easily and I can reconfigure them every Monday, which is great. Also, because then my yard guy doesn't hate me.
And I wanted to talk too about the ladder. When you were talking about the ladder, I appreciated that, coming from the IPOR and RH if you're from USCA, but the sport work with the ladder, they back chain it now,
Mhm.
which I really appreciated. And so what they did was Petra had us have a helper. And so
Okay.
the helper would lift the dog, because that's part of the competition too, is you have to be able to have someone lift your dog. So
Right.
your helper would lift your dog and they would stand on the last two rungs, meaning the last two based on the dog's body length. So if it's the last one and the next to last, however long your dog is.
Okay.
And so they would stand, and then your handler would be at the end facing your dog and would be feeding the dog and reinforcing the dog. And you'd have a helper on each side to make sure that the dog never jumps off,
Okay.
because that's the most important piece. You want to have them feel safe and secure. And so if you can't have your dog, if you can't have someone pick your dog up, that's the first thing to work on, clearly, because,
Yep.
for the sport, that's something you're going to need. And really, I would argue for search work, that's something you should have. So
Yeah.
that's
Yes.
just me, but whatever. So I really like the idea of the back chaining of it. And so then it was building their confidence that way. And then it would be the next step is putting them one step back. And then they would only take one step forward to end at that last step, because you're also trying at the end, the dog has to stop, has to
Right.
maintain that position. And then you go, and then you and the dog go forward. So it's always starting and stopping under control.
Okay.
And so you're starting that immediately. What I'm doing is slicing it down a little further. And I have two of those little half dome exercise bumps. I don't remember what it's actually for. I found them on Amazon. I saw Denise Finzi using it for positions, and I thought that'd be awesome.
Are they're not like jump bumps, or they're like half PVC,
It's a foam. It's like a foam roller cut in half, basically.
Oh.
And they're about 10 inches wide. And so what I did is I took a rug that's kind of like Velcro almost, because it's just like a soft, cheap rug.
Okay.
But when I put the sharper end of the Velcro, I don't know what you would call that, the hook and the loop. So that would be the hook side, I guess.
the scruffy side.
Yeah, I put the scratchy side on the back of my half foam roll.
Uh-huh.
And so then that automatically sticks to my carpet rug that I can just roll up together. And it's so great because then I can adjust the distance for dogs for conditioning. But what I've been doing is I'm putting it at the exact distance as the ladder. Because something that Petra and Svetlana said was, instead of having the boards in between, to teach them straight away, this is the distance of the rungs, because it's specifically for this sport and for this ladder.
Okay.
And so I thought that was one kind of nice clarity piece to say that, ladders are this spacing. So teach them that from the very first step. And if they generalize it much faster. And so I'm teaching it on the floor in the house on the two bumps. And then I'm going to transfer that stand to when I have help, then I'll transfer that to the ladder. So I have someone there to spot.
Right.
Gotcha.
So what's interesting is when I was building my wooden ladder, I went and measured the distance between the rungs on a little giant ladder.
Uh-huh.
And that's how far my rungs are placed apart, because that's actually how I taught Nico, so that we could do ladders, because he needed to be able to have that for when he had to do the actual ladder. So I didn't know if their ladder rungs are a different width.
They are.
Yeah.
So on the sport, it's set to European, so it's set to metric.
There
now,
you go.
in the States, you are allowed to do imperial, but it's still closer to the European size versus like what ours are set to.
Right.
But the nice thing is you're still conditioning into that spacing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so you could do the same and have it in context of this wooden ladder versus this metal ladder.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I really liked that concept. And it's interesting because we're teaching it differently in club. So Nancy's doing it with the boards in between, and she's doing it a lot more as a playful thing. Just feel confident to jump up here and run across this thing and jump off if you want to. And I'm doing it very methodical. We're doing this on the ground. Here is your placement. Here is your core strength. And then when I have somebody to help, I'm very methodical about it. We're going to see kind of how it plays out, because we have sisters. So it's kind of fun.
Yes.
Yeah. That is cool.
that they're very similar in so many ways.
Yeah.
And they're being trained in a very different way. So this will be, it's enjoyable. I like this little challenge.
I've seen is worked on the ladder, and I also have I work on the unstable plank and the stable plank, and how that. So the unstable plank, for those listening, it's a plank, but it's set over two barrels. That's one of the reasons why I have those plastic barrels. And so it kind of moves side to side a little bit. And that's an obstacle in IPOR. And I also use that to kind of, because it moves kind of like front to back a little bit. But I've worked that with Prize. And what I found is working her out in the wilderness, right? So we're out in the woods and we always have like all these logs and everything that are just kind of falling across our path. And she doesn't blink, right? She is up and over them. I can also send her across a log on a verbal.
Nice.
So I have a couple times where I've been out in the woods and just even for training, if it covers like a span, like not a real deep, I'm not, not like a deep gorge or anything like that, but just a little bit of a span, I can verbally send her across and stop her. So that for me is, I think it's helpful, and it's helpful for her to have that control and that confidence just with just even the logs and everything that she has to traverse when she's working. So I've found it to be extraordinarily helpful.
Well, there's a lot of cues, like you said, there's a lot of cues that I wouldn't have had if I wasn't training for this, that now I am transferring and using. So even, I never really caught a weight. I don't know why. I just didn't really need it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't something that crossed my mind. And so now I use that as because I've always just thought if it's a sit, stand, or stay, or not sit, stand, or down. I've never had a stay. And so now I kind of have this informal, just wait a second, be there.
Yes.
I don't know. It's been interesting. And even doing the directional stuff now too, that's been such a nice addition to the agility training, sitting them out to the cone and then directing them to the different tables. And now doing that out in the field and doing it out on trees and stumps. And they just really enjoy jumping up on things now. And the one thing that I'm really seeing is with their physical fitness getting better. Yep. And I see it with their odor work, that when you don't have to think about where your body is, you can stay more focused on the task.
Yeah.
And I see less slipping, less sliding, a lot more core. So that then I feel like I'm preparing them better for less injuries, hopefully, and longer working careers.
I'll be honest. One of the things that I like so much about doing agility work and your whole comments around dexterity and made me really think about slick floors.
Yeah.
Right? Because if they have the core strength to be able to do some of the agility stuff that we're asking them to do, they understand where back feet are, how to kind of tighten up and control everything on a slick floor, and it becomes less of an issue.
Well, how to use their toes, really.
Yes. Yep.
Right?
Right.
Like how to use their pads and how to actually stabilize themselves. Yeah, I'm hoping with all this work, it's also going to clearly, I've seen a huge fitness increase in my dog, and I'm hoping that will minimize any potential, injury or anything like that. But
this is not the time I talk about my preference for Dewclaws, right?
No, you can talk about them because
go for it.
You're talking to a breeder who has decided not to take the Dewclaws off of her Labrador.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of evidence out there, and
my dogs have Dewclaws. Yeah.
Yeah. When I took Bobby Lyon's class, and I know we interviewed her a while ago, but she talked about how it helps them grip the ground. It helps them with the turns. It gives better stability to the shoulders. The tendons attached to the front Dewclaws prevent the torque on the legs. There's more chance of carpal ligaments to tear or stretch, causing laxity and arthritis. And she talks about that the rear Dewclaws, that the ligaments is mostly attached. So there was so much more likelihood of arthritis and tendon damage taking the Dewclaws off. So it was such a okay, sold even more. I intuitively, I was like, there's a reason they're there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's not take it, And then when she kind of shared all those things, and I'm sure there was a lot more, that's all that I can remember that I kind of jotted down. But yeah, people smarter than me can know more of those answers, but that really stuck in my head.
Yeah, I'm pro Dewclaw.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
I've seen dogs use them on the biggest one for me is always seeing the pictures of the dogs on the ice using the Dewclaws.
Yeah.
Help them get out of the ice. But
exactly.
I've seen my dogs use them on rubble piles.
I believe it.
To climb things. And so I'm like, they get to stay.
Yeah.
Unless they're torn or damaged, but otherwise.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Ray tore a Dewclaw doing directionals on an athletic field one time because she turned such a tight corner.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So let's just say she didn't do agility or she didn't do directionals for a little while.
Yeah.
But the only downfall I have to teaching my dog agility is that everything from I was doing a bomb dog certification and I was presenting high and Dash decided to jump on a desk.
Okay.
And the evaluator kind of looked at me and said, we would actually prefer our bomb dogs to not jump on things.
I bet.
And I was like, whoops. Okay.
Yeah. 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 And I'm sitting here with like powder. I'm like, yeah. Desks. We've been on lots of desks.
And just the whole fact that they learn that things like, I'll be honest, I'm sitting here on this podcast and Flash is over jumping on the stack of 2 climbs I have in the corner and sitting and looking at me like, okay, can we do the thing now? Can you stop talking to the stupid people in the magic box? But you also find things like
but didn't she jump up on your stool or something?
Yeah,
as a puppy, like even before.
She'll jump up on my bar stools. She was doing that at about the age of 5 months.
Yeah.
She'll climb up onto, because she can jump on the bar stool, then getting on the island is just a step.
Yeah, it is.
Right. And so you teach your dogs that they live in a 3-dimensional world. So expect them to use it.
Yeah.
You also open their mind too. Sorry about that.
Oh, no. I was just saying, like, I put away my agility stuff. Like I had to put it away for Monday. And I moved the ladder over and I'm like, ooh, I better block the access to the ladder because it doesn't really go anywhere right now.
Right.
Because she's just, she's on a verbal. I put her into a heel position. I just say easy walk. And she's like, see ya. Right.
And it makes you become very aware as a handler.
Yeah.
All of the things out there that your dog can do. And now they're going to hurt themselves.
Yeah. She loves it.
It also makes them aware of what they can do. And that was the thing that I was kind of thinking is that physical agility kind of gives them some mental agility too.
Yeah.
And so it's giving them that well-exercised brain. And then that's helping them make decisions. It's helping them solve problems. So that's all things they want. I'm also seeing, it seems like, I don't want to say that because she'll get mad at me, but it almost cheers them up.
I wouldn't get mad at you. I'm not the one that.
But there's this aspect that. But there's this aspect that it's like
she's making faces. The whole like.
Okay, here's the behaviors that I see because I'm trying to like operationalize what I mean by cheer up. I'm seeing this kind of this calmer, this focused kind of state that they get, and the way that I can relate it is when I briefly did some bouldering, some rock climbing. And it was one of my most favorite things to do because you have to be in the moment or you fall off the wall. And I see that same intensity and I do it. It's like this, I think I'm relating that feeling that I had where it's this you're just in it. It's such a focus in it. And I think that's why I was thinking earlier about, when you're navigating obstacles or you're following the cues from, your handler for these things, you have to maintain that focus. And that's where I've seen that like the cognitive tasks, the detection tasks, you get that same sort of mental focus. And the other piece that I saw a lot is the confidence building. And that's why I love doing this work in the very beginning with puppies. And I'm talking just like climbing over boxes and over cones and that are knocked over, and just navigating weird, awkward surfaces. That's why I think part of the are too, is what kind of strange terrain can they go over? And then I was trying to kind of think, okay, what does confidence look like in a dog? Like, how can I say, what does that aspect look like? And I think with that, I'm seeing dogs that they go to kind of new tasks with enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Like they're ready to go into it. There's no hesitation.
Yep.
And I see like their posture is a big thing that I see. Have more of like a relaxed body. There isn't like this movement away. It's more of a movement toward. It's more of a higher chest, higher shoulder. There's more eye contact with the thing that they're approaching, whether it be people or environment. And they also seem to move more fluid. like with more purpose.
Yep.
And they're more prone to explore. And so those are all things that I want out of my detection dog.
Yeah.
And I've even noticed they're more likely to approach challenges. They're more likely to go into a situation because they seem like they are aware of their body and they're aware of their ability.
Yeah.
And sometimes my thoughtless dogs, I need even more of that. The ones that are more prone to just go and run balls to the wall.
Yeah.
I really, really need to have this focus for them.
Yes.
But then my really super thoughtful dogs, I feel like I need to have even more focus for them and on this because I want them to be a little less hesitant to be able to have confidence to do the thing and not have to think about the thing when I really want the odor to be the thing that they need to focus on. So I just see it as, and then I know some people are going to say, but how do you fit the time in? You know, like I'm working a full-time job, I have families, and you fit it in.
It's like when you pick out like what you're training. That is one of the things you train.
Look at your environment that you can kind of slowly bring in little challenges of terrain as part of a drill, not as part of like the big search.
Yeah.
And even fill it in there. Or even just when you're you see a cool surface, just walk over the surface.
Right. Or one of the things that when I didn't live on a farm and had to take the dogs on nature walks, there were lots of times I had pictures of my dogs sitting in trees because limbs had fallen over or whatever. And we would practice jumping up in those and walking and turning and walking the other direction and all of those sorts of things. And the ladder work that I just did with Flash the other day, literally it was 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to do this stuff. Just do this stuff.
You can't spend a lot of time on it because it takes so much physical strength. I mean, you can't have a long session.
This is probably a good time to add in, just because they can doesn't mean they should.
Agreed.
So we're talking about smart use of asking our dogs to do things that is not going to hurt them, things that they are physically capable of doing.
Yep.
And not just saying, can you go jump on that tree when you haven't physically conditioned them for that?
Yeah.
Correct.
And they don't have the skills to do it. So I assume these things, I know we all assume those things, but I did some really stupid stuff with Quinn because he was my first dog.
Yeah.
And he could do things that I thought were just spectacular. And I didn't think about the long-term consequences of this young dog jumping on these 8-foot tall things. And then how do they get down?
They have to jump down. I was going to say, it's not always the getting on.
It's
also the getting off.
Getting off. Yeah.
And that is one of those things that I encourage a lot of people who are doing, like even the disaster work.
Yeah.
Until the growth plates are fused. I learned that the hard way especially with Moses, he was doing a whole bunch of rubble pile stuff at a very, very young age. And I was just like, I didn't do that with Nico. To be determined if that made a difference, but it's also a different dog, a different breed, and all sorts of other things, but they weigh about the same. And so just because, one of the things that I look at are those videos of the Malinois running up a tree and then grabbing a toy and doing all of this other stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the landings. Can we not have stupid landings?
Yeah, that's the hardest part.
And I'll be honest, you guys, I don't play Frisbee with my dogs a lot.
I don't either. I used to.
I did too. But when you have a dog who thinks that jumping for the moon to catch a Frisbee is fun.
It's more about your throwing. If I can't be a very competent throwing that I can make it land right over their nose so they're not flying through the air.
Agreed.
And then if I have a dog that thinks they have to stop and come right back, and that's that repetitive. Yeah. So there are certain things I'm going to take risks on, but there's other ways that I'm going to work my guys out now.
Yeah.
I have to actually coach my hiders for prize because she likes to play catch with her ball, like coach them on like the trajectory, like don't pop the ball up. I'm like, she's going to flip over.
Right.
Because she literally will just launch herself after the ball and just flip over and hurt herself. So it's all I'm like, low trajectory, just overhand, throw it down at her head. Like she'll catch it.
Just at her head.
Yeah, just throw it down at her head. That's it. And then that way she's not going to do like crazy acrobatics.
I started practicing because of Nico rolling the frisbee on the ground.
Oh yeah, roller. They actually call those rollers. And
I suck at them.
Yeah, they tend to go in an arc.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why we play a lot of tug. And if I am throwing it, I'm throwing it at his face.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I like actually the floppy frisbee. I like the
chuck it frisbees.
Well, they're kind. Yeah, I don't have like the chuck it. Where it's like that kind of thing. So sometimes, like at the last summit trial with Brava, she loves those. So she loves like the floppy, like the fabric frisbees, right? So I keep it in the back pocket of my training vest, and then after the search with her, I whip it out, and that's great for playing tug or on the way back from the search. I can actually kind of flip it up just a couple feet and it floats because it's really lightweight and it's not real heavy. And I don't know what Robin is doing stuff over there. I'm seeing this. I'm like,
Robin's taking a picture because her puppy is right there, and I'm going to post it.
I'm like, are you taking pictures of the screen? I'm like,
I am.
Of me? Like, what in the world? So anyway, I'm using this fabric or this like the fabric frisbee, right? And I can just kind of toss it up and it just kind of hovers there so she can kind of grab it. And then I play with that on the way back to the parking lot. And she really, really loves that. Absolutely.
I want to share too, probably my favorite thing about working with Yukon. I've been to 3 mud runs now, and they were the 3 at the Logan House Kennels. And that's the only 3 they've had so far. And that has been my favorite example of, and they have like a search and rescue division as well. I never did that, but just that's also kind of a perk if SAR people are listening. What I loved about that was the amount of problem solving that we had to do on the fly. So we have these obstacles, and there were times where I was just too slick. Like I couldn't pull myself up over this giant, like 20-foot A-frame thing they had created. Wow. And Yukon was like up running ahead, and I had to have him pull me.
Well, he also climbs onto your house.
Yeah, but then there's like a tire mountain. So it's like boards and tires. And so we have to really communicate with each other. And it was the turning moment in our relationship. And it's my favorite photo ever taken of us. And we're going over this, it's over a cattle pond. So when we say mud run, it's just cattle ponds. So
I got those.
So yeah, it's pretty.
Hey, we could do that at distraction camp.
When the dogs are eating the mud.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, it's pretty. But that problem solving piece was so important for us because we had to work together. We had to be a team. You have to be unleashed through the whole thing. And so we're both on the fly, solving problems, making decisions, slow down, speed up. We're on West Virginia mountains. And it's leaf covered. And it's slick as a get out, right? So we really have to be that team. At times I have to get on my ass and just slide and just have him pull me. And sometimes that's not comfortable.
No.
But one of the huge things that I don't think we've really said yet is the bond. There was that absolute bond that we created. And I don't know, I wish I knew who took the picture now, but it's this bond in this moment of, I had a concussion the night before. I'd banged my head and cut it open, and I've got a Band-Aid on my head. I'm on this road, or it's like a plank kind of thing over a cow pond, and there's tires underneath that's suspending it to keep it up, but it's really sinking down into this mud. And Yukon and I'm on my hands and knees, and Yukon is under me. So he's walking with me, and his head is next to my head, and we're both like, and our hands look exactly the same. My hands look like his paws, like we're just grabbing onto this. And just that bond and that time together, it changed us. It totally changed us. Just having these weird things to have to try to maneuver. And it was a perfect balance of being agile and dexterous because we had to have skill. And, at the same time, you're trying to go for speed.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't really go for speed. Ours was just like, can we do this thing without dying? And we did it. We didn't die.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that I like about that functional obedient or functional agility type of stuff is because it's a lot of verbal off-leash control,
Yes.
which is, in my world, always a beneficial thing.
That's huge.
It does remove the umbilical cord of the leash.
Yep.
And so you're getting them used to doing things under control, away from you, where literally a lot of their courage and confidence has to come from within. You can inspire it a little bit, but they have to do it. And so that's why, and my level of functional agility might look a whole lot different than somebody else's level. If your dog is the type of dog where putting a 10-inch plank on the top of 2 cinder blocks and having them walk confidently across that little plank,
That might be huge.
That might be huge for your dog.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly okay.
Totally.
Yeah. And it's just, I think when we started talking about doing this episode, it was literally go out and look at the stuff in your garage or your backyard.
Yeah.
And see what you can use to create a little agility course in your backyard.
I want to just echo what you said about the off-leash control. For me, that has created a level of trust with my dog that has been so helpful, just to be able to know that we have that communication and it's there. It's more than just a recall, right?
Yes.
It's more than just like, I feel like we're a little bit more connected. And when we're out in the woods or whatever, I mean, I'm not giving her that direction, but I feel like I've got a level of control if I need it.
Yeah.
And for me, that is it's established a little bit more trust, I think, for me with my dog. And
like I said, we did it on leash too. So it doesn't have to be off leash.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
doesn't.
talking about like the application of what she's doing now, like the little stuff. So it really did help my trust. But yeah, you can absolutely do that.
Because you can build the trust on leash.
Oh, totally. I mean, I think they do like parkour, like a lot of parkour, like the stuff. I don't know a lot about the sport of parkour, but I think a lot of it is actually on leash.
It's really hard when you say that word because I just want to say parkour.
Oh, no, it's well, I made that video when I have the video of banking in my hall and the hallway, and it's like parkour. That skit, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I know.
Every time you say that word, I just want to start shouting it.
By the way, oh my gosh, I think that the handyman's coming out on Thursday to fix the hole in my drywall. My dog went through the drywall, so
of
welcome
course she did.
High drive dogs. She just hit
going Mach 5. Yes.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, she banked the hallway one too many times and put her shoulder through the drywall. And
I drive parkour.
She was fine. Yeah, parkour.
I drive.
Okay.
It's just nuts.
All right, guys. It's time for takeaways.
No, we're done already?
I know.
Dang, this is a fun episode.
Takeaway, concept training. So
yes.
I'm going first. Sorry, Stacy, cut off.
I'm going second. I did done second.
Concept training. I just feel like it relates in every aspect. So I can teach the concept of duration. I can teach the concept of whatever I'm trying to get through. And if the concept that I'm trying to get is to slow down and focus, and I can do that physically, then it also can translate and help me with my odor work to help them also do that mentally, of really stay focused, stay in the moment. And it's a good way to start that, because physically it's a lot easier to do that than it is mentally, I think.
Well, I think for me, it's a lot of the conditioning is huge. The conditioning and building the confidence. I can tell you, I have a completely different dog now than I did a year ago when Robin introduced us to the flat ladder, and I see the difference in her physically. She looks great, and when and her confidence has just blossomed, and that has really. I feel like our working relationship has also benefited. Yeah, can't say enough good things about it.
Okay.
Regardless of how many clubs you have.
Exactly. One of the things I like about this sort of agility is that it makes me be creative, because I have to think about new ways to put together the existing crap I have, whether it's, whatever it is, lying around the farm, or by the way, scaffolding makes really awesome agility equipment.
Oh, wow.
And those sorts of things in order to continually to challenge my dogs. And then how can I build different levels when I have dogs at different places in their agility and understanding of body awareness? And then you have the dog that just pulls something way out and you're like, you're not supposed to be able to do a 6-foot leap. And they're like, here, hold my beer. And you're like, wait a minute, you're going to die.
Right.
So that's always fun. So
Safety, guys. Safety.
Safety, not just because they can. And I really do like the connection that it creates. And that weight cue, or I have an easy, which is like a walk slowly type of thing. Like Crystal was saying, the concept training, that it translates to all sorts of other things. So thanks everybody for spending this time with our silly little selves. And we greatly appreciate all of you. And as always, go train.
Canine Detection Collaborative! We appreciate the time you spend with us. If you liked this episode, not only should you follow us so you don't miss the next one, but please also rate and review us in your favorite podcast app. For info on collaborating with us, go to k9detectioncollaborative.com. That's K9detectioncollaborative.com, where you can find our socials and pick up our latest monthly freebie. Join us again to talk training in the next episode.